Hey guys, Ken here from the Retro Toys Escapades channel in Malaysia. This video is a pretty hard video for me to do, but it appears that the unthinkable is now on the verge of happening, and I'm getting reports from various sources, both from on the ground and from within Mattel Malaysia itself, that Masters of the Universe toys will soon, if not already, stop being distributed at regular retail stores in Malaysia. That's right guys, it looks like just like it was with the 2002 series, the ride is now coming to an end, and very prematurely I might add. When Masters of the Universe was relaunched at retail here in Malaysia in September of 2020, it was nothing less than a sellout sensation. Now this photo here was submitted by our top contributor James Chong all the way back in September of 2020. These are the products that were first placed on display at a Toys R Us store in Kuala Lumpur, and the employees were just stacking up the shelves like it was just a regular day, right? They had no idea, most of them didn't even know what the brand was, all right? They had no idea of the storm that was to come. Now the figures started disappearing from store shelves in a matter of days, even hours, all right, for some of the stores. And the bulk of these sales came from consumers who had never owned a He-Man action figure in their lives. They always wanted one, and now they had a chance to fulfill their childhood dreams. This is a photo of that same store shelf at the end of the business day. As you can see, almost everything's been cleared out, okay? Now, initially, the first 3 waves of MOTU Origins figures sold out in a heartbeat, leading everyone to speculate that Masters was now the hottest toy property on the planet. And for a brief while, it actually was that. But once Wave 4 started to roll out here in February of 2021, we started to notice that these figures were cluttering up store shelves for weeks and months. Now, I myself have covered many store hunt videos on the channel where you could see the situation with the stock surpluses of Wave 4. Now, to be fair, this was the Triclops wave, and I think that only Triclops is probably a harder to get figure at this point because I don't seem to see him around anywhere. But from that Wave 4, everybody else has been there for the past 1 year, alright? And in Malaysia, Toys R Us stores are the primary distributors for the Masters of the Universe action figures. You also have a few other selected department stores that usually carry very limited stocks, and then you have the hobby stores. Now, it took us some time to realize this, but MOTU Origins Wave 6, which came out last year in August 2021 specifically, was in fact the last time a new Origins wave of figures was ever placed up at retail. Now, this was the set that came with the web store and Stinkor figures, and this was pretty much the last time retail stores, be it Toys R Us or any of those other smaller department stores that I mentioned, this was the last time that they brought in a fresh case of Masters of the Universe figures to be displayed for sale at retail. I visited one of the newer Toys R Us stores in Malaysia just last week, and as you can see here, there's tons of figures from Wave 6 of last year that are still on shelves, and this is over half a year later. So does this look like a brand that is going to survive at retail for that much longer? When Wave 7 hit in October of last year, Toys R Us did bring in the shipments, but they only made it available on their online store, and none of these were ever placed on retail shelves. Similarly, when Wave 8 came out just a couple of months ago, the same thing happened. It was only available on the Toys R Us online website. And in fact, if I were to go onto the Toys R Us website right now, I can still see the listing for this wave. Alright, it's still available for sale. For anybody in Malaysia who wants to purchase this thing, it's still available for sale months later. Now, this is something that never happened before, not in the early days of MOTU's launch here. Okay, you'd be lucky if you could still find a wave, a full wave like this, maybe like a month after its release, but it's all there. And this would be great for anybody who's just discovering how amazing Masters of the Universe is and decides to suddenly one day wake up and get into the hobby. Except that I don't really think that there's enough of collectors like that out there, and even if there was, like tomorrow we had probably 10 new collectors that just woke up and felt like they wanted to get into the hobby and contribute by purchasing these sets, it's still not going to be enough to guarantee the line's survival. And in fact, now what we're hearing is that, and this seems pretty much confirmed, is that even Toys R Us is not going to be stocking up on the next few waves, not even for their online store. So that basically means that not only is Masters of the Universe as a brand going to be extinct at retail, it's also going to be extinct from the online store for one of the country's biggest toy department stores. So where does this leave us, guys? And in fact, it probably explains why we've not seen a single sign of stuff like the action figures from Netflix's He-Man and the Masters of the Universe cartoon series. Now, it seems like that thing is still churning out action figures, and I just saw this image online a few days ago of the Most Squidra figure, and I gotta admit that this thing looks pretty interesting. I've never actually seen any of the figures from this series. I've never even held them, not even seen them with my own eyes, right? Because none of them ever made it into the country. But some of the stuff they've been putting out looks pretty interesting, like this thing right here. But you know what, guys? There's just no chance. Okay, there's just no chance now of ever landing something like this at retail. So, yes. What is the future of MOTU collecting in Malaysia going to be like? Now, the extinction of Masters of the Universe at Malaysian retail doesn't just apply to MOTU Origins, but it also applies to Revelation as well, which, as I can see, the very last figures that we got from Revelation was in fact the Savage He-Man and Orko set, and also the Triclops Deluxe set, which struggled to sell. All right, it's like just about 2 months later, they were clearing these guys out. Okay, now I hate to see stuff like this. Okay, but where are the collectors who are supposed to be supporting this thing? The truth of the matter is just that I don't know what's the deal with Masters of the Universe. We've seen this happen before, with the 2002 series. It always seems like this is a brand that everybody should be getting into. But the truth of the matter is just that not everybody cares about it enough. At least not enough to go the distance. Okay, there's just something about this brand. Every time it appears, once people get their hands on the He-Man and Skeletor figures, they probably don't give a shit, okay, about anything else that's in the line. Okay, this year we've got stuff like Mentana, the evil horde characters. Visually, it looks stunning probably to the average consumer, but they ain't gonna be putting down the dollars for it. Okay, that's for damn sure. And the other thing is just that this isn't a line like Transformers. I'm not sure what's the deal, but Transformers seems to be able to survive through anything. Okay, through any incarnation, there's always going to be people who want to get their hands on some Transformers. Masters of the Universe doesn't seem to be going in that direction at all. And it's true what a lot of industry experts have said over the years, that this just isn't a brand that can survive at retail, at least not for long term. It is a brand that can have a presence at retail, probably for a short period of time, maybe like for a season. Okay, you remember back in the 80s when we had seasons, like, for 3 months we'd have something like Brave Star, and it was like the hottest toy. Okay, and then 3 months later be replaced by something else, maybe like Captain Power. It's just not something that was supposed to be there for like years. Okay, it's just one of those things that it was just like a toy product from the 80s that it could survive for a period of time, but not indefinitely. Well, that sucks, honestly, because there's still guys like me and a handful of other collectors that I know of personally in Malaysia that want this line to actually give us everything that it gave us back in the vintage 80s. Okay, there's still a whole ton of figures that we want. And based on what we've seen from Mattel's press release announcements this year, it does appear that a lot of those figures are still coming. After this year's batch of figures, we're still supposed to be able to look forward to next year's batch, which includes the Snake Man figures. So how are we here in Malaysia supposed to be getting all of these figures when there's no retail support? Well, it seems that this is going to be a hobby that is going to be in the hands of hobby stores. All right, we're just going to have to rely on the good old hobby stores, which here in Malaysia, there have been a few selected hobby stores which have consistently brought in Masters of the Universe product. But you really have to be on the ball. Okay, I mean, when they announce a pre-order and stuff like that, you really got to act on it fast, and they do bring in limited quantities of these items. And I suppose that this is where the line was always supposed to end up, all right, as a hobby store thing, just like pretty much how we get our hands on stuff like NECA and McFarlane Toys here in the country. It's all through hobby stores. There's no retail distribution for stuff like McFarlane Toys or NECA. It's always been through specialty shops. Probably in some of your countries where you're from, maybe you can walk into like a major department store, you can see NECA stuff there on the shelves. That's a dream for us, okay? It would be wonderful to be able to have that. But so far, when it comes to collecting a lot of these figures, it's always been through hobby stores. And I thought that initially, the excitement, okay, with having something like Masters of the Universe at retail is just that it just made the hobby just so much more easier to follow up on. Being at retail also means that we're exposed to retail prices, which are a whole lot more cheaper. And we're also exposed to the possibilities of retailers putting these items on discount at some point, all right, so that we can save on our hobby a little bit. Having these stuff solely through hobby stores makes it harder for us in the sense that the prices can probably only go up from here. But I suppose if there's one thing I know for sure is that when it comes to the die-hard Masters of the Universe fans right here in Malaysia, we've always done whatever we can to make sure that we get the figures that we want for our collection. And I guess that it's come to the point that we're just gonna have to keep on doing what we've always been doing. So hey guys, I don't know if this situation that's happening here in Malaysia, as in the extinction of Masters of the Universe as a brand at retail. Oh, by the way, you know what? Probably Funko Pops will still survive, okay? Because they are under a totally different brand, all right? So yeah, probably those people that started collecting Masters of the Universe, in their Funko Pop modes, probably, those collectors are safe, all right? If you've done that all this time, you're probably okay, because I think that Funko Pop is still going to be having their stuff out there at retail. Yeah, so that's one option. I'm not sure about Mega Constructs though, okay? But Funko Pops for sure. But anyway, this situation about, the extinction of stuff like Origins and Revelation at retail for Malaysia, I don't know if this applies to you guys out there. I know that this channel has got a lot of viewers from all over the world, and a lot of you guys collect Masters of the Universe. I'm not really sure if this applies to you guys, but it could. Okay, it's a possibility. Or maybe retail was never an option for you guys, because based on the comments I've seen here, most of you seem to be getting the stuff from online stores to begin with. But I know that there is a sizable portion out there that has been finding these figures out there at department stores. And looking at how things are going, that may soon become something of the past. So hey guys, let me know what you thought of the video. Let me know what you think of all this that's been happening. Let me know how you guys are approaching your MOTU collecting these days. If it's become something that's easier for you guys, or if it's more challenging. I want to hear from you guys. And as always, thank you for tuning in. I'll be back again soon with more content on the channel. Thank you and take care.